Hello everyone! So it is another Love It or Lose It episode. This is one where your comments help me decide what game we're picking to go and choose the books that we're reading during this video. And as the name goes for Love It or Lose It, this is basically asking us to go and read a book, and if we love it, we'll keep it. If we don't love it, we lose it. We unhaul it, we get it out of here because, as you might be able to tell, we have a lot of books, and I really would like to focus on reading the books off of my shelves. This is a spinner wheel that basically has your comments, so if you're interested in going and having your option picked, please leave down in the comments a color which you can choose from red, blue, green, or yellow, and leave a number from 1 through 100. I'll leave a little bit of information right up here, as well as in the comments down below if you'd like to go and leave an option to see if yours gets picked. And we're going to spin. Okay. So we got blue 42, and this is from Deb from DG_reads. So I'm gonna go and change things over and we're gonna see what book we're gonna be reading. All right, so we have to get 42. So I'm gonna look through these numbers first, and this will help decide what kind of game we're gonna use. All right, so 42 lands here. Booktube Rex. Okay, perfect. All right, so this is where we're gonna pull the book from, and then I'm gonna just go and reshuffle these. Nature on the cover. So we went and used our cards, and as you saw, what we're gonna be pulling from to go and help pick the book is Booktube Rex. So with this one, I'm feeling like I'm just gonna go and pull from someone's video that has been talking about a book that I have on my shelves that I've been really wanting to read. So this helped really go and narrow it down because I kind of have been feeling a little bit more mood ready. And so this kind of gives me a little bit more control versus like having a pet pick or a dice roll or something like that. That one can be a little bit more chaotic. So I like that this one gives me a lot more control in my choices. And then when we picked our blue card, it said nature on the cover. And I automatically was like, I think I know which book I'd like to go and read. So the one that we're gonna go with is The Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver. I think that's how I've heard some people pronounce it, like Cleaver. But I've had a few different people read this book, especially in the past couple of months. And one of my good booktube friends, Ivy from Ivy the Geek Goddess, absolutely has been raving about this book. She gave it, I think, 5 stars or infinity stars, and this has been like her new favorite book of all time. And Ivy and I tend to be pretty similar when it comes to the books that we love and enjoy. She actually made a video where she read a lot of the books that I either loved or hated, and then said towards the end if she felt that we had similar reading taste or if she didn't. So I'll leave the link for that video down below if you'd like to go and check it out. But I think this will be our booktube rec that we go and read, and I'm very, very excited for it because this has been a book that I've been meaning to read and just haven't had the chance. I feel like, especially after reading a couple of thriller books recently, it's kind of been giving me that urge to go and pick up more thrillers and more fast-paced books, which I feel could be very helpful with how slow my reading has gone for the month of July so far. So we'll see how this one goes. Okay, so I cannot fully see because my sunglasses? I can't see because my glasses were giving a really, really bad glare, but I am about 66 pages into The Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver, and this book is pretty good so far. I made it into the second part, so the second part, or part 2, is gainful employment, and that seems to be when the main character Macy is going to start working at this house and becoming the whole caretaker. Yes, Kiko? You have things to say? Kiko has things to say. But part 2 is going to be with Macy basically going to this house and taking on the housekeeper role. In the first part of the book, we're mostly hearing a lot of things about Macy's life, some inside pieces about how financially she's struggling, especially to take care of her and her sister, and she's really, really needing this job to work out. This energy, I'll move the book over here so you can see Kiko. But she's really hoping that this job interview will go well. And in the beginning, she's basically assuming that this is going to be a caretaker position where she takes care of the husband for the wife while she's away, because that's what the Craigslist ad said. But then when she gets there to the interview, she learns that, oh no, that's not the case. That was kind of a whole ruse in a way, and she's needing someone to take care of the house while she's away at her granddaughter's birthday party. And then there's this piece about a film where she's only able to watch it if she is going to be the next person to take care of the house. And so there's a lot of mystery around there. I definitely am getting a lot of the same vibes that I got with We Used to Live Here, because there's a lot of that build up where things seem normal, but then you're getting a few pieces that seem a little bit creepy, a little bit eerie, and you're wondering what's going on. So I'm excited to continue this book. I feel like I'm definitely gonna fly through it. So we'll see how things go. I'll probably check in again. There's a part 3. So I guess this book is written in 3 parts. So when I get to part 3, I will do a new check-in and kind of let you know how things are going, but also keeping things kind of vague and not going too into spoiler territory. So pretty.
Pretty.
Yeah, she's like. Oh my goodness, Nugs. Oh. apologize for a little bit of the delay. I meant to go and check in during various parts of this book, but I was just so glued to it that I couldn't stop reading. I couldn't take breaks. And there was actually quite a few more parts of the books. I think there was like part 4, part 5, and whatnot. And those parts were a lot tinier in the book. So I guess it kind of worked out because I don't really know what I could have said during those parts for updates without giving spoilers, because I know a lot of people want to go into this book with as little as possible, especially with how Marcus Cleaver goes and writes. You really want to not know too much and not spoil, because it's just so much of a mystery and fever dream type of thing, and just has all of these questions. So yeah, definitely don't want to go into too much spoilery details, but I did go and finish this book last night, and I'm still kind of going back and forth. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate it. The thing that I really love about this author's books is that when you read these books and you enter the moment where like this stuff starts happening, automatically there's just a million of questions that go through your mind, and you're trying to figure things out, like, why is this event taking place, like what's going to happen here. And there were a lot of very creepy vibes and everything. I was reading this book majority of the time late at night, so that could have been a good thing or a bad thing. It did add to some of the extra chills, but I feel like with We Used to Live Here, there was a lot more room for making different theories and trying to figure things out, whereas like this one, there was, but there wasn't. And I don't know how to really go into further explanation for that. There also was a moment with this book that I just got so frustrated with our main character and felt like verbally yelling at my book, which can kind of be something that people can be devil's advocate for, because you know, sometimes, let's go with Game of Thrones for example, and some of the very evil characters there, that people actually ended up hating the actors so much because of how well they played a villain. I think depending on an actor or a writer, that gets you to become so frustrated with a character and really dislike them, shows how good of a writer or an actor that person is. And I definitely think that was done here, but I hit myself with a book. I definitely think that was done here, but at the same time, I was just so frustrated with the main character, and I just have to leave it there because I don't want to do any spoilers or anything. So yeah, this wasn't necessarily a love, but it also wasn't a hate. So again, we're reaching that gray space with a book where I'm like, I don't want to unhaul it. Also, this book is an arc, and I keep all of my arcs, which probably wasn't the best for a love it or lose it video, but I really did want to go and read this book. So yeah, that's kind of where we landed with this. But since we finished this book, it is now time for us to pick our next love it or lose it. Let me go and get our spinner wheel, and we're gonna see which book we end up picking up next. I did start a different book last night right after I finished The Caretaker, because Charles was still reading his book. We usually read a little bit before we go to bed. I usually read a lot more than Charles does, but because we were still in bed and I was like, okay, this book was extra creepy and whatnot, and I usually get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom because I have a squirrel bladder, and I was like, I need to read something that kind of takes my mind off of that creepiness, especially since like turning the lights on and off was definitely a thing present in the book. So it's like, we need to read something that's complete opposite of this. I don't know if that book will be picked for our love it or lose it, but I guess we'll see. So we have our spinner wheel here, and as always, anytime an option gets picked, I immediately remove it, so that is taken off. And if you want to add a new pick or anything like that and you've already been chosen, always feel free to go and add those in the comments below, because I like seeing the wheel with a lot of options, because where it lands, you never know. So let's go and spin. Oh, nice. Okay, so blue 52, and the pick was with Robin, South Africa 2. All right, so we ended up getting blue 52. I have all the cards spaced out over here. I think we might have gone with blue before. Not quite sure. My squirrel brain can't remember. But we also need to go with 52. So over here. And pull picks. Okay. So we're gonna have to go and do a poll pick. We need to see which one out of here we go and use to pick the book. And I'll probably have a poll up on both YouTube as well as Instagram to help me pick which book we'll be reading. So I'm gonna just shuffle these up again. Kind of feel like we had blue before, but the option we chose last time is removed. So I usually keep that out for that specific Love It or Lose It episode. All right, let's go with this one. Next book in a series. Okay. This one might be tricky. Let me go and take a look. All right, so as you saw, the game that we're going to be doing for this Love It or Lose It pick is going to be a poll pick, and then we need to pick the next book in a series. So this one is a little bit tricky because there's a lot of books that I'm in the middle of the series for, but with a lot of them, I noticed that I usually have to pick up the first book to remember what ended up happening. There's a few standalones that I'm picking and a few other ones. So one of the books that I started last night was actually Hooked by Emily McIntyre. And this one I think was on our TBR game and might have been one of the Live It or Lose It options I had there. So if this were picked, that would be perfect because then we get points for the TBR game. This is also the first book in the series, although I think all of these books are standalones. So this is one of the poll picks that I'm going to put on there. Another one is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This is one that I've been really wanting to read and just kind of have been putting off. I think this was a book that I was having on my 10 before the end of last year and it just didn't happen. So this would also help me go and pick up this book. And then the other one I'm going to choose is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is probably the most accurate with being the next book in a series. This is also kind of like a little bit of a standalone series because these books take place in the same area with a lot of the same siblings, but each book focuses on a different pair. I love reading cowboy romance or small town type of stories during the summer. It's usually the time that I gravitate towards those. So I think these are going to be the picks that I have, and I'm gonna have the poll up for 24 hours. So whatever book ends up getting picked, I will show you in the next scene, and we'll see what we end up reading and if we're loving it or losing it. And hopefully if this one gets picked, hopefully we're loving it because I have the Fairy Loot special editions that I got from Pango, and I don't really have the intention to get rid of them. But the whole concept of this video is Love It or Lose It, where we either keep it or unhaul it. So I'm a little nervous. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so this is what I'm wearing to our venue taste testing. We are basically going to this little event thing, our wedding venue, and it's going to be where we get to meet some different vendors and also try some food and everything. But the thing is, the theme was like ocean or beachy resort type of stuff, and we don't really do that type of stuff, so we didn't really have anything for it. So I have this sundress that has like these really skinny straps, and I'm just kind of in one of those moods where I'm like, I don't want to show as much skin, so I'm gonna wear this really light cardigan and everything and probably just have it rolled like halfway up because it is still really toasty here in Colorado. But this is like a maxi dress length and I'll wear sandals and everything. But yeah, even if I didn't have the cardigan on, my hair is so long, like I'm on my tiptoes right now, but my hair is so long. I probably won't cut it until after the wedding just to make things easier, especially because like I want them to do like some fun whimsical stuff with my hair. But yeah, if I were to have this off and like have my hair down, it's basically like my hair's already kind of providing a vest and things for me. But yeah, this is the look. This is what we're gonna go with. I'm a little bit nervous because like we don't really know what to expect. We just know that's gonna start at 5:30 and go until 7:30. And originally I took today off thinking that the whole thing was supposed to be earlier in the day. But then when I realized it was at 5:30, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna take a day off because a day off in the middle of the week is just really weird and it bothers me. So yeah, this is what we're doing, and I'll show what Charles is at least wearing on the top part when we're in the car, but he found something that I got him a while back that is very nerdy. So we're excited about that. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. I will probably sweat buckets, which is also good that I have a cardigan on because that can just like catch all the sweat. And I also have biker shorts underneath the dress so that will also catch all the sweat. Sweaty girl problems. I can't believe I just did the finger guns, but Nuggie! Nuggie!
Sit.
Look at you! Nuggie, you're so pretty.
Good girl.
Yeah, you're so pretty.
Hey.
Hi, pretty girl. Nuggie!
Look at you.
Oh my goodness. So the poll, as you would have seen, was Spark of the Everflame was the book that we ended up going with. And I'm on page 200, definitely making a dent in this. I'm actually hoping that I can manage to finish this book today. I'm really wanting to go and catch up on my reading, especially with how rough of a start it was at the beginning of the month. So yeah, hopefully we can go and finish this, and we'll see if we end up doing one more Love It or Lose It book, or if we manage to do two. It all depends on what gets picked and what books we end up having to choose. But so far I'm really liking this. I've heard from a lot of different people that the second book in the series is actually the best one, but so far I am really enjoying this one. There's a lot of build up, and usually when it comes to romantasy or fantasy type of books, they're not normally my go-to, so it takes a while for my brain to fully adjust to the different world and the magic and just getting a better idea of those things. Automatically, I'm really enjoying it. I love that our main character is a healer but also has like a very fiery personality. I just really love that in a character so much, and just some of the internal dialogue she has and kind of battling with wanting to do the right thing but then also having her temper but wanting to stick with her morals and whatnot. I love getting to see that complexity with her character. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this book so far. There's some mention of war potentially happening because there's two different people, the mortals and the descended. And the descended are kind of like, I guess in a way, I'm kind of picturing like Fae, because they're all beautiful, but they live forever. And they all have different types of magic depending on what part of this world they're in. And if they leave that part of the world, then they end up losing their magic. They have to stay in a certain area to still have that power. And with our main character, she looks different from the other mortals, because one of the biggest things is that the mortals all have brown eyes, and I think they all have brunette hair too. And then with the descended, they have different colored eyes and different colored hair. But with our main character, at a certain age, she lost like all the color, all the pigmentation in her hair and the pigmentation in her eyes. And her family and her have just been telling people that it's due to an illness that she had at a young age. But it seems like there's a little bit more to that. And slowly, as things progress, our main character is kind of getting a few answers, but then also like 5 more questions from it. So yeah, I am really enjoying this. I'm hoping to finish this book today. So we'll see. I'll probably update again once I do finish things. Okay, first off, before we do anything, do you guys see these two? Nugget is sleeping like a lady, but Cicero went and jumped up and like curled up next to her. Oh my gosh. But we're here to do a quick check-in about our Love It or Lose It book. I have finished Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, and oh my gosh, I'm so mad at myself that it took me so long to start this book. I've had it on so many different Defend the TBRs, end of the year, 10 before the end type of videos, and I have finally read this, and I really enjoyed it. I think like there were some moments that went really slow, but I did really enjoy quite a few moments in this book. I really liked Diem Bellator and how she was a healer, but she'd also had this fiery personality, and she would have these really witty comebacks. I always love whenever a character has those great comebacks and I'm just like clapping and giggling. There were some moments that she made a lot of mistakes where I'm like, girl, what are you doing? But overall, I really enjoyed her character. I think the fact that she wasn't so low in confidence about her abilities, especially when it came to healing, I did really like that confidence piece. And I also really liked the relationship that she had with her dad. Just a lot of the ways that he kind of interacted with her and taught her lessons kind of reminded me of my own dad doing similar stuff like that. My dad always taught me a lot of martial art sayings and a lot of Bruce Lee stuff. He didn't actually teach me like Taekwondo or anything, but he did teach me a lot of different ways of thinking and whatnot. So I really enjoyed that piece as well. I know that there's also this romance, but with a lot of reviews that I've read and a lot of descriptions about the series, it's slow burn. And oh my gosh, was it slow burn? I absolutely adore slow burn romanticities. It's some of my favorite because I don't really like when things are instant love. So if you can't tell, I did love this book. I will be keeping it, thankfully, because I do have editions that have like these sprayed edges. So I will be keeping this book and I can't wait to continue on with the series. Reading this book also helped complete some things. So I got to check off some bingo board spots because I had this book listed on some of them. So love when that happens and I can just check off multiple boxes. But now we have to pick our next book. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta take a picture of this because what the heck? Nugget, you're such a bed hog. Oh my goodness. She is such a bed hog. And is such a little distraction. What am I doing? Because my squirrel brain got very distracted by all of this. Yeah, Cicero's like, I need more space. I don't have enough space for this. Nugget is taking all of it. I don't think I've been putting the colors in the same spot, but you know what? That's okay. And what I have been doing is the ones that we've gotten, so like our color picks, I'm removing those so we don't get to pick them again for this round, but I will put them back into rotation when we do our next Love It or Lose It video. But like when it comes to our games and numbers, those ones I'm putting back in the pile because obviously we need to use those. But eventually I will switch them around so numbers will be associated with different games just to kind of keep things interesting and for everyone that's like going and helping leaving comments for what to pick, they don't know necessarily what is an option for some of this stuff. All right, so we got our spinner wheel right here and we're gonna spin, see what we end up going and getting. Okay. We got another blue. I feel like this is just gonna be the blues for a lot of our picks. But I don't know if we've ever gotten 13 before. Oh, and it was blue 13 from Super Sweet Frog. That was the comment that got chosen. The numbers have been put back in here, but we need to find the one that 13 fits into. Okay, so that's not any of those. Okay, 1 through 15. Pet pick. Oh my gosh. Okay. We will see what Nugget can pick, but we need to figure out what kind of books. So we got pet pick right here. And then we're going with blue. So let's reshuffle these. I'm gonna go with this one. A lesser known release. All right, so I feel like with this one, it can be purely subjective. It depends on maybe what type of book publisher or book genres you go and follow. So I'm kind of in a little bit of a thriller mood, especially after reading The Caretaker. I just really flew through that book so quickly. A few of the books that I'm picking are all different types of mystery thrillers or psychological thrillers. I just really want thrillers at the moment. So I have Nowhere by Allison Gunn. I have No Secrets by Penny Jolson, and this one was on our Defend the TBR. And also, When She Was Me by Marley Bush, also on Defend the TBR as well. I do really need to go and read some of the books from Defend the TBR. And also, I'm so behind on the mystery thriller bingo board, so I feel like all of these options would be really, really great. All I have right now are cat treats up here, so it could be Nuggy, it could be Cicero that ends up picking up some of these books. We shall see.
Nuggy. Good job, Nuggy. Good job. Good job.
All right, so that one was a little bit of an interesting pet pick. Nuggy was actually in Charles's office, and so when she came running in, she wanted to go to the book directly next to her. So I kept trying to go and like mix around the books, and I was like, all right, maybe we'll do it like 3 different times. But then she picked a different book each time. So I felt like going and rearranging the books and everything might help, because she might go to a different treat each time. It didn't work. So I ended up going and picking a few different times, and the one that she picked the most was When She Was Me. So this is the one we're gonna end up going and reading. I think this is also the chunkiest one out of all the options, but I have been really curious about this one, and this also is on my bingo board as well. So we'll see how this one goes. Alright, hi. So I realized that I completely forgot to do a check-in after we went to the wedding venue to go and try food. Honestly, the reason why I didn't do an update was because it was so packed with all sorts of people there. We knew that there were going to be people there, but not really the amount. So it basically had like everyone that's going to have their wedding at the same time of the year as us. Okay, so I made it to page 110 just because I wanted to finish the chapter that I was on, and already I'm really enjoying this book. It is just kind of filling a lot of the itch that I had with thrillers and whatnot. They're usually my favorite types of books to read, but this year I just haven't really been craving them as much. But I'm also really behind on my mystery thriller bingo board, so I really need to pick up the pace with thriller books. I don't know if I've been really talking about what a lot of the books I'm reading were about, so I probably will have little descriptions of the books on the side, except for this one, since I'm remembering it as I'm reading this one. So this is a story about 2 twin sisters that are residents in cabin 2, and it's kind of like their refuge. It's a very isolated cabin, and an event took place a few years back that led them to going and escaping here. And we're getting little snippets here and there about what their life was growing up with their parents, and it seems like Maggie just yawned. It seems like the relationship they had with their mother was really difficult, possibly toxic, and that the relationship was a little bit better with their dad. But we're also getting 2 different POVs, one from the sister, or we're actually technically getting 3 different POVs. One is from one sister and the other is from, of course, the other sister. But then every now and then we get a POV that's like then. And it's unclear which sister exactly we're getting the POV from with these flashbacks. I'm really thinking there's a little bit of an unreliable narrator piece because both sisters have little secrets that they're keeping, and one sister is keeping her eye on the other one, especially because of some stuff that took place years ago. She kind of mentions and hints at it being her fault, but also she stays with her because she's so worried. And I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of pieces that we're not necessarily seeing. And this is the thing that I really do like with thrillers, because the entire time you're reading the story, you're trying to pick out pieces and figure out what exactly happened and try to go and solve the story along with the main characters. And I feel like, yeah, there's definitely going to be this whole twist at some point that changes things around. But where we're at currently in the book is that the person that was owning the campsite died, and there's a new camp owner, and they're basically honoring the agreement that they had with the previous camp owner, and they're going to complete their lease and then maybe figure out if they're going to leave or if the other person's going to let them stay. And while that's going on, there's usually just one cabin that's open for guests, and that has been filled again by a family. And both girls have kind of had their own experiences with this family and the little girl in that family. But then all of a sudden she goes missing. And there's just a bunch of pieces here that it's like, wait, who did it? Should we be looking at one of the sisters because she doesn't usually leave the house? Like, what's going on here? So there's a new mystery that kind of popped up, and I would like to keep reading, but at the same time, I've been reading so much this week. I've already finished 2 books this week, and I'll probably finish this one because today is Saturday and I need to finish this book so I can go and get my Love It or Lose It video done for the week so I can post it. So this will probably be my 3rd book of the week if I can finish it up and everything. But I really would like to go and play some games. I have been wanting to play some Project Zomboid because the next update I think is going to be coming out soon. And I think that might mean that we lose our save files, which I'm okay with. I'm not too attached to mine, but at the same time, I just really want to play. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of that. I also went back and forth on whether or not I wanted to just go and borrow this book from my library because it looks like the audiobook is available. But the thing is, I feel like this book is one that I really want to read and experience and try to figure things out on my own. And the sad thing is with audiobooks, I tend to zone out and miss pieces and have to rewind, and I feel like I just won't be able to focus on it as much. So as much as it would be extremely easy to just go and pick up the audiobook and finish this book even sooner, I'm going to not do that and maybe just take little breaks here and there where I play some games, but then take a little break reading and see how things go that way. Today is technically a easy day for us. We went too hard earlier this week on a lot of things that we had to get done, especially for the wedding. On Sunday, we're gonna go and meet with our florist and the fabric person that she works with, and also bring Nugget because she really wanted us to bring Nugget with us. So I have editing and stuff that I need to do tomorrow, and I'm like, I really want to try to relax a little bit today. So that's kind of our tentative game plan. So I'm going to take a little break from reading, go and play some Project Zomboid, and then go and read a little bit again, maybe read like 20 more pages or so. Now that I'm at page 110, I feel like I am making a little bit more of a dent in the book. It has around 381 pages. So I feel like now that I'm at least past that first 100, it will fly by a lot quicker. And like I said, so far I'm really enjoying this. I want to know what happens next, but I need just a little bit of a break to go and game. So we just met with our florist, and she gave us a little bit of examples for some of the flowers and just kind of told us what other color variations they would be. And we brought Nuggie, and Nugget got a lot of treats. The lady was so nice. I'm avoiding saying names just because I don't want to go and dox herself or anything, but yeah, she was amazing. I'll probably leave the information for the people that we went with for our wedding afterwards, but yeah, this is just so beautiful. We love that woman and just the amazing vibes, energy, and everything we got from her, and just can't wait to go and work with her. It is very toasty right now. Nugget is super, super, super hot. Hi, so I just wanted to make this a little bit quick because, oh my gosh, I'm so tired and drained, and I still need to edit this video and get it ready to post tomorrow. But I have finished reading When She Was Me by Marley Bush, and this one I have a little bit of mixed feelings. I've been going back and forth. I did think this book was good. It did have a lot of intrigue in it, and I love the part that just made me constantly double check things and wonder, okay, is this person actually guilty, or is it this person? And especially the perspective that we get that's from the past. There's moments that it makes you question if it's one of the sisters or if it's something else, like who's actually the bad guy with this. So I really did enjoy this book. However, I do believe that this book was a little bit too long. I really started losing the wind for it probably about halfway through, and that could have also been impacted by the fact that I really was like, I need to finish this book so that I can go and wrap things up. I can go and edit my video and everything. So that probably did have a little bit of influence as well on my enjoyment on it. Like I said, this book was good, but I feel like it was just a little bit too long. I also, as always, usually read the author's notes, acknowledgements, and everything. There's also a reading group guide and a conversation with authors, so you get a little bit more perspective from them. I do really like how they were also influenced by true crime stories and the victims, and kind of doing that in... This little guy wants to mess with the camera. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, you do. I love you. But there also was a really great conversation piece too about true crime and if it exploits the victims as well as their loved ones and everything. And there was a nice touch about that as well that I really did enjoy. But this book was the author's debut novel, and I think it does show their writing style was really great, and they did have a way of writing that really kept me in the story and not wanting to put it down. But like I said, I think this book was a little bit too chunky, and I have read a lot of books that are around this length, but I feel like this book itself is just, I don't know, something a little bit bigger and whatnot. So I'm going back and forth on this, and I think although I did enjoy this book, I probably will go and unhaul it. I just don't really find myself thinking that I'm going to want to go and pick up this book and reread it. I could see myself definitely going and recommending this book to other people because I just really liked that fact that there's two twins and you're not quite sure, is one bad, is one good, are both bad? Like, constantly questioning and wondering as you're going and getting deeper and further into the book. So I do think I'm going to go and recommend this book to people, but this is one that I'm probably going to end up going and unhauling just so it can go to a new home and someone else can go and enjoy the book. I do plan on also picking up other books by this author because, like I said, I really did enjoy their writing style, their way of keeping me invested in the story. It just was a little bit too long for my liking. But yeah, very much enjoyed it. So that is the last book that we're reading for our Love It or Lose It episode. I believe I've read 3 books this week, which is wild. And is probably the main reason why I've read as many books this month as I have, because with stress, nausea that I was experiencing earlier in the month, it really threw things for a loop with my reading progress. I'm excited, I'm proud of myself, And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Love It or Lose It as well. And if you would like to go and help pick out our next book, I'll leave the color options here. You just pick one of these colors and then pick a number between 1 and 100 and leave it down in the comments below. And I'll add it to our spinner wheel, and who knows, your option might get picked to help decide our next book and our next game to help pick out that book. But that is all I need to wrap this up so I can edit this video. So I hope you all are doing well, and thank you so much for watching this video and sticking around. If you made it to the end of this video and don't know what to comment and don't feel like leaving an option for Love It or Lose It, leave some trees for this book. Alright, see ya!